Hello and welcome to both of you, our dear guests. So, this next episode of Play It Forward. Play It Forward is an inspiring series started by Magic Bus India Foundation, where we bring in people to speak about their real life experiences connected to sport, but also connected to sport and development. It is about their individual experiences as much as the work that they are trying to do, or the communities that they are trying to inspire, or the role models that they are trying to be. It's all of this and more. And today it's a proud privilege to have phenomenal women who are champions in their own right. Kanta Singh, who's the country representative AI UN Women in India country office, and Elavenil Valarivan, Indian Olympic shooter. And that couldn't have been said in any other better way. One representing the highest, tallest body that represents women, women's rights, and gender, and the other who's demonstrated that in every way possible by being the Indian Olympic champion shooter. At Magic Bus, an organization that's been around for last 26 years, sports has always been a tool for development. We've also looked at sports as an equalizer, as an enabler, as a great entry point to not only start conversations, but to address very difficult issues connected to gender rights, stereotypes, barriers faced by girls. And it's often been that one place which unifies even the toughest of communities when they realize that when girls play, there's so much more that can be unlocked and unleashed in terms of their potential to have resilient and much brighter futures than they currently have. So let's play it forward and make this into one transformative conversation. And I'm going to begin the conversation by my first question to Kanta. Again, a very warm welcome. It takes me back to our good old days of having done so much work together on gender and rights. Pleasure, absolute pleasure to have you. So my
Thank you,
first
Dhanashri.
I thank you, Kanta. Is at Magic Bus we see sport as a powerful tool for development. It builds resilience. It builds so much more than just discipline on the ground. It also helps you deal with failures. It helps you fall down and stand up yet again and be a sport in every way possible. You've had a personal journey in sport as well as a national volleyball player, and that's not only is it amazing, but it's again the modeling that I spoke about earlier. It starts with each one of us. So looking back, what drew you to volleyball? Was your family supportive? Was it a difficult sport to pursue right up to the nationals? How has it shaped your journey, or even the lessons that you think you've had because you started off as a volleyball player and today you're playing a completely different role? So, how has that journey been? So, all of that and more. Kanta, over to you.
Thank you, Dhanashri. What a pleasure to be here with you and also Ella, who is an Olympian. And it's not every day that you get to share space with a young person who is so inspirational in her own way. And I'm sure the country would be looking forward to listening to her no more than me. My journey has been very traditional one, I would say, because when I was growing up and I was Ella's age, we didn't have many choices. Not that their journey is less challenging,
Mm,
but ours was more challenging in terms of lack of awareness and
mm,
lack of opportunities. I think
mm,
now young people know a lot more about opportunities we
mm,
didn't know. In my case, I grew up in a small village in Haryana, Dhanashri. Um,
mhm.
our village had a high school for girls, which was
Okay.
quite a remarkable thing in those days.
In those days. Yeah.
And the village had a culture of sports.
Mm,
So young girls used to play volleyball there. And
mm,
then, as it becomes a practice that
mm,
every girl wants to at least try her hand
mm,
during break, tea break, or lunch break, and then some of us who were okay, who are naturals in terms of sports, we picked up. Uh,
mm,
Mine was a more complex in the sense that we didn't have financial resources, and
mm,
I saw this as a means to go out, because without money, without any other resource, it's very
mm,
difficult for a young girl to go out of her village. So
mm,
I
mm,
saw that the girls who were senior girls who were playing volleyball, used to go for district level tournament, who used to go for camps, who used to go for state level tournaments. And I thought that was very glamorous. That
Right.
young girls, when they won tournaments, the whole village will get together and they will honor them. And I thought that was quite fantastic. And
Hmm.
that's how the fascination started with that. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was more a way of getting out of my village, because the studies alone wouldn't have helped me. My financial
Hmm.
family didn't have financial situation where I could be sent to a university. Though I was the best student in my class, I topped every class, but I
Hmm.
still thought that my mom, who, because my father died when I was 4 years old, I didn't know
Hmm.
my mother, who had 6 children, could afford to send me to a university. And I thought maybe with the sports scholarship, I
Hmm.
would be able to go. And exactly the same thing happened then.
Hmm.
I went
Hmm.
to a top class university because of the sports scholarship, and the
Hmm.
university provided me with free hostel, free food, and free education, and
Hmm.
some scholarship money, which then helped me complete my education up to graduation level. Then I also topped my university at graduation level and continued to play
Hmm.
volleyball at national level.
Right.
And I think it was more a way of improving my lot. I can put it simply like that. And so, and it on the journey, I think what we I learned, which I didn't know, and which I was not really thinking that that change will happen, is getting comfortable with my own body. Also, working in a team. Now, these skills you gain while you are young, but
Yeah.
only when you are doing, say, team sports. And team
Hmm.
sports teach you many, many things. I realized that
Hmm.
you could be the best player in the team, but if your
Hmm.
team is not performing well, you are not good enough. The whole team has to come together. It
Yeah.
also teaches you how to lose, and how to then win, how to celebrate win without being very flamboyant about it,
Hmm.
or without, talking too much about it. So the sports teaches you many, many things. And I think I learned it early on that um, win and loss is part of the game. Also, loss doesn't mean defeat. The ultimate joy of life, and
Hmm.
losing a match is not losing the game of life. So I
Hmm.
think I learned it early on. Also, the last thing that I wanted to share, Dhanashri, is that the setbacks, the challenges that you face on the way, and the
Hmm.
safety concerns that you face on the way cannot be written in reports, cannot be written in stories. Those were the things that you felt, and you dealt with them as they came. And
Hmm.
that prepares you for life. You start traveling with men's team, you know how you have to perform, you go to different states. I think it's quite a journey on it's on your overall scheme of things. And I
Hmm.
think it prepared me for life. I would say it like this: without sports, there was no chance I would have completed my education. Without sports, there was no chance I could talk to you today, or sit with Ella.
So Ella, I think you started your journey in Cuddalore, not a very big town in Tamil Nadu. And in fact, way back when I was Kanta and I were working on several issues with the UN, one of the issues that used to often come to us is the low sex ratios. And Tamil Nadu, especially part Salem, Cuddalore, those areas where girls were not even wanted. Now you come from those parts of Tamil Nadu where let alone girls engaging in a sport, that too such a challenging unconventional sport for a girl to choose, and in that you come from an area where there are traditional transition points that are considered for girls. Okay, complete education, get married, settle down, etc., etc., maybe find a government job if possible. So this was very unconventional in every way. But you have gone forward, competed in one of India's top academies. You've competed at the highest level. You have had podium finishes. And was there a moment in all of this where you've looked back and said, where have I traveled from? Where have I come? And what has this sport become for me today? Is it just a sport or it has become something else way beyond that? What is that message that you would like to give through your journey?
Clearly mentioned. I'm completely brought up in Ahmedabad. I have lived my entire life in Ahmedabad. I have studied in
Oh.
Ahmedabad, did my graduation, post graduation, everything from Ahmedabad. And the big coincidence is that even my mom has studied in Ahmedabad. So I
Oh.
think my journey somewhere started with her journey coming out
Uh-huh.
from a small village from Kanyakumari
Hmm.
to studying in Gujarat University, doing her MPhil, doing her PhD, and then working out of Tamil Nadu throughout. So I
Wow.
think my journey is just an extension of what she wanted to do in her life. I have
Yeah.
always said this, and I would love to repeat it that I'm so glad that my mom chose to go out of the normal norms and find a path for herself because she clearly paved one for me as well.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
there was never stopping for me. My parents, uh, both being PhDs, there was never a point in my life that I felt that I'm pressurized to study or,
Hmm.
I'm pressurized to get good marks. It
Hmm.
was always for my elder brother and for me that, you do what you want to do. We are there. They always gave us that big supporting hand. And I am so glad that they choose to do that because if I am today, if I am at any place today, I owe it to them.
Hmm.
Their belief in me is probably the biggest driving force that I had in my life. They let me do what I wanted to do, what I felt gave me happiness. And I think this is that thing that I learned from my mother, that there is no stopping. If you want to be the best of yourself, there is no stopping. Because
Hmm.
if anybody could stop, that would be you. And
Hmm.
the support, the love what they have given me over the years. I think that the support when I was doubting myself, when we were talking,
Hmm.
when ma'am was talking about defeats, I the one thing that clicked me was my mother telling me, after Tokyo, when I was the most heartbroken in all my years, all my times that I've been in the sport, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And my mom simply came up to me and she was like, "Okay, it's just one Olympics. There are four more for you to see, to learn,
Hmm.
and to win. So how does it matter? This is your starting point at 21. You are at the world's biggest stage." And I
Yeah.
think this is your starting point. This is the path that you have to pay for yourself now. And that thing kind of stayed with me, and that was my driving force for the next 3 years that I was uh, planning and preparing for Paris 2024. And somewhere down the lane, I did find the driving force that took me all the way and made me win so many podiums, so many matches, and still look ahead with the same motivation.
Hmm.
So I think it is their journey that has shaped me for whatever I am today. And it is her
Interesting.
spirit, her love, her enthusiasm that made me stick to the sport till date.
Ah, wonderful. And the choice of shooting as a sport, how did that come about?
That was because of my father. I was always into sports. I loved sports. I was a ground athlete. I was into athletics. I was into badminton, judo. I was trying out all the other sports. But shooting happened as a huge coincidence to me. We
Hmm.
went to a sports ground. We had a sports day of our community. And out of nowhere, my dad meets this middle-aged guy. He comes to my dad, he speaks to him, and he's like, "My sir, if you don't remember me, I was your student when you were teaching in this particular school." And they hit on with a conversation, and we find out that his daughter is one of Gujarat's leading shooter, and she was training in the same complex that we were in. And the word
Hmm.
shooting was for me was like there is some movie shooting, there is some other kind of shooting, camera shooting going on, and I was more interested to see that. My dad was like, "Why don't we just go and have a look of how it is?" And then I visit the range, and then there is this girl standing all in a weird kit, in a weird position, and I could hear the rhythmic release of pellets. Back then,
Hmm.
I always thought it to be bullets. I was like, oh my God, she's shooting. Oh my, there are bullets. And then during the conversation, my dad, out of random, questions me if I would like to try out the sport. And me being a very enthusiastic kid, I was like, yeah, yeah, why not? And then he
Uh,
takes the rifle over from the young lady, hands it over to me. So it was like a very cinematic view, if you would say. And I'll tell you, shooting as a sport felt very, very, very boring to me because someone like
yeah.
Ela, someone like me, I cannot sit still. I have to run. I have to do one thing. I have to do 10 things at the same time. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do everything together. And for me, to stand at one place, not even moving a single muscle in my body, was a huge challenge. And somewhere that particular challenge made me hooked up to the sport. I mean,
Hmm.
the sport started challenging me. For athletics, I had to run, I could release all my energy, I could release all the aggression that I was having in me. But shooting, I had to be even more calmer when there was aggression, when I felt that, I just had to throw my rifle away, I just had to, shout my heart out. I had to be even more calmer. And that particular challenge, it took me by the edge. I loved it. I loved the way the sport was challenging me. And over the period of time, I didn't even realize that, the sport was actually becoming my profession. I was winning medals. I made it to the Indian team. I was playing international competitions. I think the sport just took over me, and
Wow.
I just loved being there without thinking of what I'm getting back from the sport.
I- that's amazing, like completely incredible, and something that just happened. You didn't even, aim, and I
I
use
didn't
the
even
word.
look for it. Yes.
Yeah, you were not even aiming in any direction particularly, and
Correct.
shooting happened. That's such a paradox in itself. But
It
that's
definitely
so
is a
wonderful.
coincidence, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, and amazing inspiration, your mother, and where her journey started from, and how you took over from there. I think it's a great pivot to come to you, Kanta, right now. And speaking of women's journeys, and many women that we are surrounded by, and many journeys that we have the privilege to witness, from the beginning till almost the time that they meet their ambition, meet their goal. Your work has been all along about empowering young women. What has been that experience of working with different communities, particularly in addressing some of the most challenging situations? You would have in that time also come across women and circumstances that seemed very defeating, and then there is that one thing, one life changing moment where that penny drops and you feel this woman is now not going to give up. It could be sport, it could be anything else, but that makes that difference between wanting to do something versus not being able to do so, or having to give up for one reason or the other. So just share your experiences about the work that has been done so far.
Now, my journey has been extraordinary, Dhanashri. Uh, Many people say that this dream is unfulfilled, that that's not been achieved. I cannot say that any of my dreams has not been fulfilled. I'm completely satisfied with what how I have lived my life. It's been interesting, very challenging, but then I think that's what makes it more interesting.
Mm,
Um, why it is interesting is that I keep meeting amazing women like Ella. I keep meeting women who need support. I keep meeting women who want to come together, who also want to do something for others. Um, Also meet some women who desperately are looking for a chance in life. So
mm,
that's what makes it more interesting, that your day is never dull. You are surrounded with all kinds of interesting, happy, sad, challenging situations, and you feel so fortunate that you have been chosen to help some of those things.
mm.
Also share joy with other people. I think it has been, to me, that is the most remarkable part of my journey. In my
mm,
work, we work with women survivors of violence and all kinds of violence. We work with women who have been desperately trying to get into politics and haven't found a way. We have also been meeting people who have been trying, or not people, but women who are trying very small, I would say, nano enterprises, are
yeah,
struggling to survive there or struggling to raise their children because they have been left alone. Women
mm,
who are living with alcoholic husbands, women
mm,
who are living with very supportive husbands. So it is, so you learn from one part of your journey to apply in another.
mm,
Also,
mm,
I have been fortunate enough, Dhanashri, the way I have worked in development sector is that I have great connections. So I always find a way to connect the needy person to somebody who can support. I don't
mm,
have all the answers, but I know
mm,
who can help those women if they need help.
mm,
I'll
mm,
just give you an example, Dhanashri. I am quite popular on LinkedIn, uh, and I get about 100 messages a day, direct messages, I'm saying, where
mm.
young women are reaching out to me to basically ask about career advice. Nothing
Wow.
much. Saying, how
Mm,
can I be part of UN? How can I apply for this? How can I do this? Can I intern with you? Or many people, many women also ask me, how can they just contribute to women's cause? Well, these are
yeah.
very standardized questions. All young women have these. And I haven't met a single woman who doesn't want to be part of the UN system.
Mm,
That was also my dream. So that's how, with UN dream being fulfilled, I haven't tried for any other dream. I think it was over. So
mm,
I said I have to help other girls realize their dreams.
yeah.
I cannot be so selfish. So I'm saying I have made it a point that by evening before I sleep, I respond to each and every message. Not
Wow.
even a single message is left. So
Mm,
there are multiple ways of supporting each other. Some
mm,
you support through your work directly through your implementation partners. Some you
mm,
work through policy because you kind of meet a secretary who you convince that if you do slight bit change in your policy, this will help millions of girls and
yeah.
women.
Mm,
Sometimes you help a young woman who's desperately seeking some employment to find a 20,000 rupees job because
mm,
father is no more and she needs to support the
yeah.
family. So it has been such an interesting journey so far that I couldn't have asked for more. But turning points come every day, Dhanashri. I can tell you that. When you read stories of young women and how much ambition they have,
Mm,
it is, for me it is really, I mean, there can't be anything better than this because that gives me hope at my age. If I can get that hope that young women will take care of themselves and young women are ambitious, they are not going to be cowed down by
mm,
any pressures. They are going to raise their voice. I also feel not only me, but people like all of us who have worked in the sector and before us, women whose shoulders we are standing on,
mm,
their effort has not gone in waste,
right. Mm,
right? So that
right.
means we need to continue working. That
Mm,
means you continue supporting young women because there's no better world
mm,
without women being part of it. When
mm,
women's issues are not being addressed, women's issues are not being solved, the
mm,
world will not be a happy place. But beyond that, women, we should look at women and young women particularly from a capability point of view. Each
mm,
person is talented. They bring unique talent on the table. And if we are not utilizing that talent, Dhanashri, we are taking the country behind in terms of real progress. That's
mm,
how it is for all of us and all women to also support each other, to help other women to support to create that supporting environment. But
yeah.
more importantly, I think we have a duty and responsibility now to take it to the next level so that young women, like what Ella was saying, that there was nothing that can stop you other than you. If
Right.
all girls start realizing that there's absolutely no environmental barrier in front of them, only they can stop themselves. I think our work is not over until then. And I'm really, really feeling very blessed today that um, through UN and through my personal work that I do on Saturdays, Sundays, reaching out to young women. And every evening before I sleep, I at least respond to the young women.
Mm.
I think each one of us can do that, at least leave young women with hopes and
Right.
dreams. Like they are giving me hope that world will be better place when girls will be part of it
Mm.
actively, not
Mm.
just be part of it and being there and being taken as a second.
Thank you, Kanta. I think through the small efforts and gestures and your need to make sure that connections are kept alive, it's an incredible step in the direction of making sure that we can all work as one community, connecting to each other and ensuring that each one of us is able to move 10 steps forward each day. So I think what you do is by no stretch of imagination a small effort. It is an effort that connects many other efforts. So I think that that's incredibly valuable. Ella, on that note, I want to take you back to the time of your World Cup in Munich, where you made a strong comeback and a national record and a medal finish and all of that. But to the point that Kanta was saying earlier, what is the message that you want to give young women? Are you considering or doing something, or the things that you do when you reach out to your young fans or even your followers or girls in your family or in your neighborhood who might be asking you hundreds of questions about all of this and more, beyond the popularity, beyond the fandom? They must be asking you some very real questions. So what is your message to all of these girls who want to be inspired by you, but who also want to learn those critical life skills and skills that come with sport, that is going to help build their confidence, to help them shape their own dreams going forward? And this is a great opportunity to ask this question, as just the national sports policy was launched just yesterday, and another great step in the direction of bringing as many sports people into the sporting arena, but in that specifically bringing more women and girls into the sporting arena. So over to you, Ella.
I think the one thing that I have told every young person, let it be a girl, let it be a woman, let it be a guy, anybody, the younger generation, how I like to address them, the generation that would be ruling India the next 100 years to come. The one thing that I have loved to pass it on is that to
Mhm.
believe in yourself. This is the
Mm.
motto that I have lived through throughout, and this is the one thing that I would love to pass it on as well. Let it be any field. Let it be sports, let it be arts, let it be culture, let it be education. If you choose to believe in yourself, there is no stopping. And this is that one thing I have learned from my mother as well. As I was already mentioning, that, she paved
Mm.
the path for me. I think this is that one thing that she has taught me to believe in myself despite everything happening around me. There had been instances in my life, for an instance, like the Asian Games miss out, where I was not in my best form, and I did not end up in the finals or in the top 10 or in the top 15. I was way back in the top 30. And somewhere after that, there was so many, the people who were supporting me had so many questions, there was so many criticism going on around me. But the one thing that my mom told me back then and my coach told me back then, and I chose to believe in that, was to believe in myself despite anything and everything that was happening around. And this particular sentence has helped me in so many places, even when I was at my best and even when I was still learning.
Mm.
And this word just stayed with me and it is still staying with me. If today I am still working for LA 2028, this is my driving force, that I am believing in myself and I just know that I can do it. And this is that one thing I want everyone out there to take it for themselves. Every young woman, if you choose to believe in yourself, there is no stopping. Let it be anything that you want. Let it be arts, let it be culture, let it be dance. It could be anything. And this is that one thing that I have been telling all the younger ones in my family as well, to believe in yourself and to believe in what you want to do. I
Mm.
think that is the secret to my success,
Mm.
and possibly to everyone, everyone who's listening to this podcast and everyone who's listening to this interview, would I would want them to take it from here. And yeah, I think this is that one thing that I would love to pass on.
Yeah, simple but a powerful message. It all starts with you, and it all starts with believing in oneself. And the one thing that a first thing that happens in a Magic Bus session, which is a life skills session, we talk about self belief. Or what we measure is also self efficacy. How much do I believe in myself? And to start with, that is the conversation that we have with self first before we have it with others or those in the society. So powerful. My final question to both of you, and that's about where do we want to go from here to truly achieve the equity that we seek, the world that we seek, that becomes a world of equal opportunity, a world that is equally available for a girl to claim her right to play, to lead, to thrive, to chase her dreams the way she'd like to chase them, and of course, giving her the space, time, opportunity, and the acknowledgement to not only believe in herself, but to pursue the path that she's choosing for herself. So, what would it take to get there? What would you like to see happen over the next 20, 25 years? And what is that one thing that is playing in your mind right now that if I did have that magic wand, this is exactly what I would do?
So if I can start, Dhanashri, I think three things that I would point out that need to happen for all women and girls to achieve their rightful place in the world, I would say.
Mm, mm,
One definitely is the freedom to be
mm.
whatever they want to be. I think it's
Yeah.
very, very important that it is not just responsibility of one particular person or government or just the parents. I think each one of us needs to do something different to
Mm,
make a girl safe in her house, in the public space, in the schools, in the transportation, where whatever they use, to roam around in the middle of the night without any fear. I think safety and the right to be wherever they want to be. I think
mm,
that's one thing that needs to be ensured for all women and girls, because without which you ensure the economic rights, you ensure everything.
mm,
If you don't ensure safety of a woman, physical and emotional safety, women will not be able to do what they need to do. And
mm,
most of the things that women are not able to do today, including politics, is because of the violence that they face online or
mm,
otherwise, or the
mm,
fear of violence.
mm,
So I think that's one.
mm.
Second is, I think, opportunities which are improving. I'm extremely pleased to see that India, there's not even a single sector where women are not there, and women, wherever they get a chance, they do extremely well. They
Mm,
outperform men. Equality of opportunity is absolutely critical, and this is partly responsibility of the government,
yeah.
where the favorable legislation, policies, programs happen, but
Mm,
also the responsibility of parents to also not withhold their capabilities by saying you are a girl and so you can't do that.
you
So
can't do that.
everybody also not preparing the girls for marriage. They should prepare the girls for for fulfilling their dreams, because we
Yes.
raise our daughters for marriage. We have
Yes.
to raise our daughters for realizing their dreams. And the third thing that is definitely required, Dhanashri, is investment. All
Mm,
these things cannot be done unless you put the money where your statement comes from. So basically, if you are saying we want all girls to be safe, what does it even mean?
yeah.
That means you will have to put those safety mechanisms in place. We will
Mm,
have to bring in everything possible including sensitization of men and boys to say, you have no right to violate her rights.
Mm.
So I think investment from private sector, from government, from families, from society is absolutely important, including the time that girls needs to be nurtured.
You on that hope and that journey. But Ella, over to you on that very question.
I think ma'am did summarize most of it, and it was really inspiring to hear ma'am speak about hope for women because at the end of the day, all it comes to hope. What the fire that you have inside, the hope that you want to prove, and the hope that everything is going to be fine at the end of the day is what gives the ultimate strength to prepare ourselves for all the upcoming challenges. And thus, I feel that education for women, although it has been very much equivalent in the last few years, I think I would love to see more women leaders coming up in the education sector and education being provided equally to every kid out there, not on the
Mm.
gender bias, but to every kid out there. I think it starts from there. Gender equality or women's rights, everything is taught when the young minds are shaped. I think shaping India's next generation is would play a very major role when we talk about women empowerment and education. And also, ma'am very rightly expressed women's safety. I getting the opportunity to travel so much, having the freedom to travel so much, would love the younger women in India to get to see how it is, to get to see that independence to travel, to get to see that freedom, and learning to navigate, to travel, to explore, and to have that feeling that you can do it on your own. You don't have to look for the hand that's guiding you. You can do it and you are there. I think this safety thing, it plays a very major role in women's freedom to do certain things. And as a woman, as I get to speak to so many inspiring women, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to both of you and get to know, especially ma'am, learning about how there are so many things that still needs help despite we being such a progressive country. There are so many things that needs to be addressed, and we as a community get to do so much, get to inspire so much to all the younger generation out there. So I think these are the little things that still can be bettered, and we are on the verge of having an equal world where there is the bias word gets totally out of the context. I think
Mm.
that would be the world that we are looking forward to.
Absolutely.
Well,
And that's like really creating a dream with that one word, that we no longer need the word bias in our dictionary at all. It needn't be
Exactly.
required at all going forward. So, on that note, I want to thank both of you profusely for spending the time. Absolute pleasure and a proud privilege. And let's hope, as both of you rightly said, to inspire and expect a world that has where women and young girls and everybody, all women, have the freedom to explore, to experience, to experiment, to navigate, and to live their best dream ever, whatever they choose to do, starting with self belief, and starting with safety, and starting with a environment that provides as much opportunity to women as it does to men and boys. So, thank you so much.